Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson,
And I am S. Foster.
and this is the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's going on with you, brother?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Just very excited about this episode, man. There's so much to cover, man. A lot of deep shit in it, but I'm feeling good about getting into it, man. But how about you, man? How you feeling? Everything good?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good, man. Man, listen, I'm excited, man. I got some stuff I'm working on that's coming up. Getting ready for this spring to finally kick in. Getting ready for this summer, man. Went and got me a new phone.
Uh-oh.
Upgraded my phone to the new 13 Pro Max. I heard they got that cinematic camera on there. So I've been playing around with that, and that mug look nice, man. That bad boy look real nice. So, you know what I'm saying? Looking forward to using that this summer and this spring. And then, I headed out to Cincinnati a couple times this week to go talk to my little cousins. And they got some interesting stuff that they want me to help them out with and do. So it's gonna be a busy busy time, man. I can't wait.
That's good, man. It's always good to be busy when you're doing something productive. But man, listen,
For sure.
man, that damn 13 though. I think one of the best commercials, dude. You might have seen it, where the two cops were sitting in the car, the black cop and white cop, and like the camera was focused on the black guy, and the white guy was like, "Yo, I'm out of focus." And he was like,
Yeah.
"What if something dramatic happened?" He was like, "What if I say I'm the killer?" And then it switched. Yo,
Yeah.
I always thought, and see, I've always noticed that shit in movies, man. And like, I think that is one of the coolest things that a camera can do. How that shit can make one person out of focus,
Hey, listen.
and then it shit change.
When you pull it off and you can actually do it, oh my goodness, that shit so sweet. So like we went to BW3s because they wanted to have like a little business meeting type thing and hang out. And so you know what I'm saying, I was doing that, but it was like my little cousin was sitting like right in front of me, and then I had a shot of the bartender. So I had focused it on the bartender, and it blurs him out. It blurs everything else out around, like, we're outside of the focus. And you can tap on them, like you can tap where he at, and it'll switch the focus, and then it'll blur everything else out the back. That shit is sweet, man.
That is
That shit
fire.
is sweet.
That was a great idea. Whoever came up with that commercial, man, to
Yeah,
market that phone that way,
yeah,
like that was genius.
yeah. And then
That was
I'm
genius.
starting to see a lot of people shooting content with iPhones and stuff like that. And that's something that I had already done before when I had my iPhone 8. We shot a few of the Immaculate Bros videos, you know what I'm saying, with iPhones. And then you know what I'm saying, COVID happened, so that kind of pushed it on hold. But yeah, man, it's some dope shit going on. I can't wait.
That's what's up, man. I think when it comes to being content creators, man, like to keep the shit going, to keep always pushing and thriving and putting yourself in different lanes, like you just never know. Like, when it comes to me, as you can see, I'm always damn busy. We doing this twice a week. I'm
Started
putting
a new
out
pod,
a
man.
28. Yeah, started the new pod. Shout out to JD, man. We did the pilot.
Sure.
What is it? Wait, grind, shine. What is it? No, it's wait, shine, grind marathon. And basically all it is was, and he came up with a great idea. So what he did was to contribute to tribute to Uncle Washington. He just wrote the name Washington. It was like, what letters can I put in between that to make the name? So that's what it is. Like
Oh, okay.
so it's just basically he wrote that down and wrote letters in between it. And when you see the like the
Artwork.
logo or whatever for
Yeah.
the podcast, all the letters that are in gold spells out Washington, and the letters in red are the letters that he filled in.
Yeah. That's fire.
And he used the the candy bar, the whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
That's what that Why
That
the
font.
letters are squiggly like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's dope. That was
Yeah,
dope.
that was
That's
that was
what's
that
up.
was a dope idea, man.
That
So
see that now it make the artwork even fire now, so I actually see what y'all did with that. That's what's up. So what's it
yeah.
about, man?
Man, it's basically what we're trying to, with it being a tribute to Uncle Washington, it's just kind of like trying to keep that format
Hmm.
similar to what the Stolen Time podcast was. But
Okay.
I'm not the engineer. Like I'm just the co-host of the joint. Like he's running everything, but we're trying to make it something that's just a younger version, fresher version of the Stolen Time
Hmm.
podcast, basically. So like we went over some topics. We had more topics on the docket, but I mean obviously the biggest news of the week was the Oscar shit. So we
Of
ended up
course.
going really long on that. But we got into a little section where we talked about Don Staley, where we talked about black coaches in the NFL, a lot of little shit like that.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying, it's you
Oh,
know
shout out to Todd Bowles. Speaking of,
yeah, man. So we spoke about Todd Bowles and I gave I don't think it was a controversy opinion that I
hmm
gave, but I gave some takes. But I'm happy for the guy. Like he wanted it to be Leftwich, but I was like, to me, honestly, it makes more sense for it to be Todd Bowles for the simple fact
hmm
that he was the Jets head coach, and
yeah, he
and they
got
got
the
it.
experience.
Yeah, and they got a short window with Brady. So you
Hmm
want a guy that at least knows how to be a head coach. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely.
like yeah, man, we just mixed in some culture, mixed in some current events, some sports, a little thing like that. But I just think that keeping yourself going, keeping things moving, putting out as much content as you can because there's already, a lot of people like to call this space saturated and all this
hmm
type stuff. And like, look, there's a lot of podcasts out there in the world, man. There
Yeah.
are. But I'm trying to put my voice on as many of the bad boys as I can, man. You
Facts.
know,
Facts.
but at the end of the day, like, and I say this a lot, but this platform, this podcast is special, man.
hmm
And it's just like for me, it's just like that right ear, that right ear. We
Yeah.
get that right ear, man, to put us in that space that we need to be.
hmm
I think we'll, what I'm saying, we bound for success. That's
Hey man,
that's number
listen.
one.
That boy JD, man, he got a hell of a networking going on over there. So I'm pretty sure that that's gonna definitely catch some eyes and ears of a few people, and put y'all where y'all need to be, man.
Man, it ain't even like I say, look, I spoke about this pod,
Hmm
spoke about you, shout out to the team. And man, I need to hit up, man. E and Siege, man. I ain't missing a lot of content over there. I guess them guys been busy. Might have to
Yeah,
hit them up, man. But yeah, man, we got a team that we speak about, man. And it's just
yeah,
like,
for
man,
sure.
because in this space, man, the people like there ain't a lot of people that understand this grind that we on.
For
Like a lot of
that's
people,
for sure.
don't understand it, and like a lot of people think that, oh man, all y'all doing is talking, but it's like,
Hmm
nah, it ain't
It's
what
bigger
you
than
think it is.
yeah, it's bigger than that.
Yes, sir.
And
So
I tell people all the time because they think they just, man, I could hold a conversation. I'm like, yeah, but can you hold a conversation? Can you make valid points? Can you continue to make valid points? Can you construct that conversation around multiple topics? And can you do all that for at least an hour plus? If you can do all that, then and you can be entertaining, you can be interesting, and on top of that, you can get people to listen, then yeah, you can do a podcast. But
yeah,
if you can't do that, then nah.
yeah,
Nah.
that's one of the biggest things, man. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have a very talented group, but then I
Yeah,
also feel that like you got to have some people that kind of what I'm saying, out of the box, man.
big time.
And I think, and I'm not saying this in a funny way, but like I was talking to Casey about this the other day because the point I'm trying to make is like I feel like I'm kind of out of the box because I was like, yo, because he had called me to talk about that top 5
Mm-hmm.
rap groups podcast. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yo, boy, you want to talk about the zone?" He was like, "Yo, you went an hour and 20 minutes by yourself on some rap shit."
But
Like,
when it's something you like, it's easy to do that though.
and like I wasn't even trying to go that long. Like it was
Yeah.
just like, like I plan on, like I tried to keep those under an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But like I ended up going like 35 minutes before I even got to my top 5 list. Like,
Yeah.
like I was just on a roll, man. And I just feel like, man, there isn't a lot of people that can do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say we all just need someone to hear. You know what I'm saying? But then with you doing the stuff with, you know what I'm saying, with We Go High and all the stuff that y'all got going, and you know what I'm saying, with the Immaculate Bros stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, man, it's dope what y'all doing, man. Cause those boys, they putting in work too,
Yeah,
as
they got a
well.
they got a joint coming out April 15th. I heard it. That whew, fire.
Man, that is what's up. I heard that's the one that put the snippet out, right? Like,
Yeah,
then they put that little like 15, 12 second skit up, not
yeah.
skit, but
Where they was rubbing on the
snippet.
plant in the
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I heard it.
yeah, for sure. I told them they creative marketing is genius, man. They come up with some wild stuff.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to them, man.
And
I love to see it.
oh yeah, for sure. But I got one for them, man. We supposed to be doing a kick challenge for the first video with the Immaculate Bros coming out whenever we get a chance to record it. So we supposed to be punting and kicking field goals.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Y'all go,
so
y'all go, y'all go tear up down. I go tear hamstring out there.
hey man, listen. A lot of people a lot of people be disrespecting kickers out here, man. I wanted to take it as far as going into soccer too, but they ain't want to do the soccer part. So I was like, what we could just do football right now.
Yeah, that's
But
because you used to play soccer, didn't you?
exactly.
Exactly. That ain't fair to them.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting there like, nah, man, let's they was like, nah, let's do it the football. I'm like, all right, cool. Cause it was something that'd be a level playing field for everybody. So you know what I'm saying? We gonna see how it pan out. And then yeah, we right now, excuse me, I've been looking around for a few places that we can actually go out and do it. And you know what I'm saying, it's looking promising, but man, listen, when I tell you, you talk about some funny stuff that's about to ensue, bro. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of laughs in this one, bro.
I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love to see people getting in their creative spaces, man. Instead of just sitting back, cause like, man, that was one of the things. Yeah, I promise y'all we're gonna get started, but like that was one of the things that really, because I'm listening to all of these podcasts, and it's just like before
Mhm.
I started podcasting, I'm like, yo, like I got something to say too. Like
Yeah.
I could be creative,
Yeah.
and it's like I just love seeing people getting into that creative space. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, everybody got a podcast, all this type of shit, but like everybody's different though. Everybody got their own
Well,
personality. Everybody
yeah,
got their
and
own stories.
that's the beauty of that means there's just more content out there for you to consume. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta listen to everybody podcast, but you know what I'm saying? For the ones who like the stuff that you talking about or whatever they stuff is, you know what I'm saying? That's a chance for people to get out there and explore those different, you know what I'm saying, avenues.
Man, definitely, man. And I just feel like everybody have like just a unique story of
Mm-hmm.
something that happened. Like I told, I was talking to Casey about this, so we could get into the what we're watching. But man, so I told a story. So I was talking about one of the groups that I was speaking about in my top 5, and
Mm-hmm.
um and I was like, yo, I was like, I remember the first time I heard 3 6 Mafia tell the club up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, I said my cousin had a girlfriend and she had a little Geostorm, not Geostorm, but one of those Geo trackers. You remember them things with the
Mm-hmm.
soft top? She had one of those bad boys, lime green, and she had 212s in the back.
Oh no.
Man, and that Tattle Club Up came on. Dude, I was amazed. I was like, yo, I need to know what this is. That was the first time I ever heard Tattle Club Up. And I heard it with two and the back seats wasn't even back seats, man. It was kind of like a goddamn.
You might as well have been sitting on a bench.
Yeah, man, that's basically what it was. And I got 212s, literally like pressing up against me. And that Tattle Club Up came in. Man, but I was like, yo, who is 3 6 Mafia? And I need to know about this Tattle Club Up song. And like just little stories like that, man, that just stick with you. Some shit just sticks with you. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, man. So, yeah. Keep creating, man. Shout out to them boys.
For sure, man. For sure. Let's get into what we watching, man.
Yes, sir.
What we watching? You're all right. So, man, listen. The only thing I watched this week was, you know what I'm saying, brand new Marvel show on Disney Plus called Moon Knight. You know what I'm saying? Watch that thing. First episode out. Pretty interesting, man. They didn't show too much. They didn't reveal a lot, you know what I'm saying, early on. However, what was interesting is the first episode, they actually showed the character in costume, which is something that they kind of like lingered with the, you know what I'm saying, other TV shows. But this one, like at the end of the first episode, they got straight to it. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what the rest of this is going to be about and how this connects with the rest of the MCU. But yeah, that's all I got, man. Moon Knight, Disney Plus.
Well, you stole one of mine. So that I started that, and look slow, but I know we're introducing a new character. You know what I'm saying? They kind of gotta give it to you like that. So that was one of
tour guide that he was supposed to go on a date with. Oh my god!
Oh man, how you fucked that up? And then you telling me you got okay? I'm not doing this. Man, how you have a phone and you can't see this Sunday, man? Like what the fuck? You can't look at your. You can't look at your phone.
I tell you what. If whatever power he got, he need to find out how to go back in time and fix that.
Yeah, because he need to go on that date. I'm telling you.
Sheesh, that motherfucker was cold.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the other thing I watched, man, Death on the Nile, man.
Oh yeah, I need to check that out.
It's basically all it is, man. It's like Clue mixed in with some. What's that one thing called, man? Like it was. I felt like with the name that was attached to it, I thought it would be a little bit better. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It didn't really hold my attention too much, but it didn't really start getting really good until after the murder happened. You know what I'm saying? And then and when the dude started doing his detective skills and interviewing everyone and all that type shit, and then you see what the outcome. But you kind of felt like once it started really getting into it, you could kind of tell like, yo, I know who's responsible for this shit.
No.
You kind of start, like you kind of start like, yeah, I kind of know what's gonna happen. But what happens at the end, you might not expect that part though.
Okay,
that part's a little different. But they got it. This is the wild part though. They're promoting it, saying that it's on Hulu, but it's on HBO Max too. I watched it on HBO Max, so they just kind of just put this movie out like.
Well, I mean, it was already out in theaters, so.
Well, maybe that's what it was, but yeah, man, I watched.
Kingsman is like that too.
Yeah, they got that. Well, I see it on HBO Max.
It's on Hulu too.
It's on Hulu too.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, man, I watched it, man. I gave it a little shot. So I watched that Moon Knight like yourself and Death on the Nile.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Hulu, by the way, bro. I've been on Hulu for like the last 2-3 weeks.
And
I've been catching up with some old shows, man. I was watching the PJs last night.
Shit, man. You want to know what show I've been? It's on the tube now, man.
What's
But
that?
it's this Disney put Gargoyles, man.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
remember when Disney Plus first dropped. I started watching the animated X-Men show. That
yeah,
was that
man.
joint.
Gargoyles was my shit. But I used to watch that
Yeah,
every morning before I went to school.
yeah. That's that
Yes,
joint, man.
sir.
All right, man. So this is what everybody is here for. Snowfall, episode 7, season 5. Um, so this one is a little bit more it's a little bit more packed than most episodes because we kind of get into excuse me, we kind of getting into all the characters in this one. Um in this episode we see Leon and Franklin come up with a plan to pretty much deal with Kane. You know, we see Leon and Franklin, Louis, and Jerome. They all talking about how they gonna get this situation fixed. And then you got V, Franklin, and what's Franklin my name? Is it Sissy? It's Sissy, ain't it?
Sissy. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sissy.
Sissy. You know what I'm saying? They got a little situation going on in the office, trying to deal with, you know what I'm saying, the city and trying to make sure they get that bid going. And then you have, you know what I'm saying, you got Teddy dealing with Oso. You also got him dealing with I forgot what the lady name is, but you got him dealing with her as well. You know what I'm saying? There's something going on there. And then you also got Louis and then you got the cop. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on in this episode, a lot of different dynamics. But I thought this was interesting because it's focusing on pretty much all the characters in the show. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Everybody is involved in this episode, and including Kane. Kane is also involved in this episode. So I really want to see where you at with the conversation that Leon and Kane had early on in the episode. How did you feel about that, and where did you think that, you know what I'm saying? How did you think that was going to play out, and and how did you feel after you actually seen the, you know what I'm saying, seen the transgression?
Um, I thought, well, with that, we also have to mention the meeting that they had with Louis and Jerome,
Mm-hmm.
and you could tell, like, even though Jerome got mad and kind of stormed out, but like Louis with this rage that she got towards
Franklin.
Franklin, man, it is
Yeah.
it's very visible, man. And
Mm-hmm.
so, because like she pointed out how Leon was really doing all the talking, and she was like, "You mighty quiet over there," you know. So you got to mention that. But I thought that the sit down, obviously, it proved to be, well, at this point that we think it proved to be somewhat successful. I thought that the thing that they talked about and how Leon is keeping it at we. You know what I'm saying? We had to
Mm-hmm.
take him out, even though at that time he wasn't for that going down the way that it went down.
Right.
But I think Leon now understands why it had to go down the way it went down,
Mm-hmm.
even though he didn't agree with it. But I think that having that conversation with Kane and getting Kane to understand, like, yo, because Leon told him, like, yo, if Kevin would have went along with that hit, this shit could have affected you while you were locked up because they would have got
Yeah.
you in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, your brother had to be sacrificed, but if we didn't take care of this one issue, you would have
Mm-hmm.
been out of here too. And you, first of all, you wouldn't even know that it was coming.
Shit, and Kevin could have got fucked up still too.
Exactly. So I think that was one of the things because Kane is like, yo, because once he told me, he was like, yo, I ain't trying to hear your excuses. And he was like, nah, like you
Mm-hmm.
need to hear me out. Like this whole Kevin thing, it's a ripple effect. and it could
Mm-hmm.
affect it. Like that could have took all of us out, and it could have took you out. You know what I'm saying? With a
Mm-hmm.
hit that you didn't even know was coming because you didn't know what was going on the outside. I thought that it was also. I thought it was also telling for when Kane said, "Yo, like you look like you've been going through it,"
Yeah.
and it's starting to seem like. And I said this last season. Leon is really affected by killing that child, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Kane could sense it, like he could feel it. He was like, "Yo, like something happened to you,"
Yeah.
and even Kane is like, "Yo, I can feel it. Like with us sitting here talking, you've been through some shit." So I thought that that was very telling for Kane to notice that, but also to feel what he was saying, and then for him to be like, "Yo, like I thought that Franklin would be here trying to settle the score, but he got you here." But I think that Leon was really the only person that can get Kane to understand, because I think that there was a different relationship with Leon than Franklin, because Franklin wasn't in the streets like that. You know, Franklin was a schoolboy. Like he was in the streets, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, Franklin was like people. Like I said, people don't remember Franklin was on his way to college.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Before all this stuff happened, and I know I'm rambling, um, but before I stop, when he was like, "Yo, I used to want it to be you," you know what I'm saying? He was like, "You was cool with everybody in the hood. You always had a girl under your arm," and he was
Mm-hmm.
just like, "Yo, like I wanted to be you," and that's why I think that Leon had to be that person to
Yeah.
have that sit down and speak with him as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting conversation that they had, especially with Leon starting off that way. You know what I'm saying? Letting him know, like, yo, I idolized you, I looked up to you. Um, I think with this newer path that Leon is on, because the meeting between him, Franklin, Louis, and Jerome, you know what I'm saying? He was kind of forcing them in, telling them, like, yo, I said I handle it. And then, Jerome was kind of like, nah, you know what I'm saying? We gonna get our get back. But he like, yeah, is it worth, you know what I'm saying, more black bodies being in the streets? And what I noticed was Jerome kind of smirked when he said it. You know what I'm saying? Or after he said it, I'm sorry. Jerome gave like a little smirk and he kind of looked back at Louis. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, he left out and then Louis went, you know what I'm saying, right behind him. But I thought that was interesting because, you know what I'm saying, later on we'll get into it. That's kind of where Jerome's head end up, you know what I'm saying, being. Um, but the conversation that Leon had with Kane, it kind of revealed a lot about how, or at least I think it does, it reveals a lot about how we're going to start seeing the progression of Leon's character for the rest of this season. And if they do another season, how it's gonna play out in the next season. Um, I think that what he said to Kane was very smart when he was saying, the only thing you want to do is take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? And we want you to be basically he was saying we want you to be a part of our family. So you know what I'm saying? We don't gotta do all this shit. We need to squash this beef because at the end of the day, with the connections that Kane basically seems to have, and then with, you know what I'm saying, all the work that they getting through Franklin, I mean, shit, they need another connect. I mean, they need another player in the game anyway, because you know what I'm saying, what happened with Franklin's boy early in the season. So, you know what I'm saying, and then with Louis and Jerome dealing with Scully, like ain't no telling how that's going. So, you know what I'm saying, it's starting to seem like Leon is becoming a little bit more mature. You know what I'm saying? And he's realizing that it's a lot of shit that's going on that shouldn't really be going on. And it seems like he's trying to do his best to reverse some of the wrongs that he's been doing. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also, you know what I'm saying, on top of that, it seems like he's also trying to reverse some of the wrongs that they all have been doing as a group. So I think that was a great conversation for him to have. And like you said, I think nobody else could have had that conversation with Kane like Leon could.
Yeah, and then like when they met back up with Louis, and they were just like, did Kane go for it? And it's like, yeah, he went for it. Like, we're gonna give him so many keys. She was like, so we gonna do business with him and let him make money off of, trying to kill us. And Frank was like, yo, money would make the world go round.
Mm-hmm.
And Louis made that face knowing what she already had done, which we'll get into later, but it was just like, dude, it's this whole dynamic, man, of like, and we spoke about this, but we were just like, we shouldn't judge the Kane character so early because
Exactly.
yeah, he's out here with vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
But like it could have been a situation that if we sit down and we have a meeting and we actually talk and explain to you why shit went down the way that it went down, you will see that at the end of the day, your brother was wilding.
Right.
So if we didn't take care of it the way that we took care of it, all of us wouldn't be here because the one thing that we all know when it comes to the Mexican crew that they was dealing with, they everywhere. Like
Man.
they got hitters everywhere, and like they
Yeah.
don't care about getting locked up. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, they could have wiped that whole family out, that whole crew out, and kept it pushing, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. So I thought that was a great conversation, man. That they sat there and had though.
Yeah, man. Moving on to Louis and the cop, man. So Louis sets up, this operation to where basically she's going to use the cop to get at Kane. You know what I'm saying? And eventually we come to find out that, he's going to try to do his best to make it happen. He told her, give me 2 weeks. And they got a weird dynamic, right? Because it seems as if like the way that the showrunners are putting it together, right? It's like Louis is using his emotions towards her to kind of keep him on the string, but it's like he's using threats to kind of keep her on the string. So they got like a weird dynamic going on. But what did you think when Louis kind of met up with the police officer or with the undercover, or with the dirty cop? I don't like saying dude name, but with the dirty cop, and basically kind of went behind Franklin and Leon's back to get Kane up out of here, even though they already said that they were going to fix the situation.
Well, the first time because the first time was she didn't have confirmation of the meeting. Then the second time she knew that they made a deal with Kane.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think about it, I think it's a trash ass move.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she is letting her emotions make her decisions for her. Like
Absolutely.
she's not thinking with her brain, man. Like she's just thinking with vengeance. And I understand that you are being shot at. It's hard to forgive when, and then we also got to understand Louis been shot before.
Mm-hmm.
But with that even being said, so have Saint.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So has Franklin. Actually, Franklin took more bullets.
Yeah.
So and Franklin was
Multiple
down
times
for a
too.
while. Yeah. So if he's able to do it and look at it more as a money transition, like type of thing, she like what Louis don't seem to understand. And then look, this is another thing. What's up with Little Rock? You know what I'm saying? We seen that one episode.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to assume that the shit didn't work.
Right.
And all of these ideas and moves that Louis is making, they're not panning out. But like I think she's looking at it like, yo, something is gonna hit,
Mm-hmm.
something's gonna, and it's like, I don't know, man. I do not like it. And then when it comes to this cop, man, like I don't trust the guy.
Yeah, I don't
I
either.
don't trust the guy. And then his just like when he said, she's like, how much he was like, look, it's more than you could pay, basically. So they
Mm-hmm.
came up with a price, but I think what he was trying to say was, you're gonna have to give me some skins too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like he was trying to bargain that in there. And it's like every
Mm-hmm.
time you see it, he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he is trying. And but then I also think with her always meeting him without Jerome,
Yeah, that's gonna be an issue.
and even though we all know that Jerome don't like dude, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I think that she's doing that intentionally to kind of like, I might give you a piece, but I might not. Like you said,
Yeah.
and then like, fucking with him by, what I'm saying, calling him beautiful and all this type shit. It's like she's using her sex appeal to try to control the guy, but then he's using, I don't know, man. I honestly do not like it, because anytime, like, the one thing about Franklin is Franklin, he has not had a bad idea yet.
Right.
It hasn't been a situation where something went completely wrong that Franklin came up with. And for them to tell her to chill, let us handle this, and then you go behind his back and do this, I felt like what they have may work, but when that cop go to take him out, I think that there's a way. Like, I don't know. I got a thought, but I want to see what you say first. Like, what are your thoughts? Because I got an idea that just popped up in my head.
Um. So for me, I think that with the way that Louis has been maneuvering ever since that conversation. Well, not even ever since that conversation with her and Franklin. Ever since they decided to go about kind of breaking off and trying to do things on on their own. Even with the conversations that her and Jerome have been having, it's seeming like this is all her bidding, right? It seems like she's basically leading this whole charge. And Jerome is just like kind of there for the ride because that's his girl. Like he's still involved. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like he like a right hand man, but he's just kind of he's kind of got like one foot in, one foot out, and it was evident, of course, in this episode. But it seems like she's trying to prove that she can do what Franklin does, and it's it's obvious that she's not at that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had that comment that she made to Franklin, like, "Yo, when you was down and out, don't forget, like, I was the one that was running the show. You know what I'm saying? You was, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't able to do anything, but I was the one keeping this thing afloat, not you." And I think what's interesting is like how you said, it seems like everything that she's doing from, you know what I'm saying, from the point of view we getting from her, it just seemed like something always tends to either go wrong or it's like it's always some kind of catch to it, right?
Mhm.
So the Little Rock thing didn't pan out, or at least so far as we know, it didn't pan out because we don't really know. We just kind of seeing that they not, you know what I'm saying, showing that angle anymore. You know what I'm saying? Working with the dirty cop. It's kind of like, yeah, you kind of got him on the string, but at the same time, it's like he could flip on you at any moment, and there's nothing you can do about it. The situation with Scully, they barely got out of that situation. If it wasn't for tricking dude into, you know what I'm saying, trying to be the man and take over for Scully, then, you know what I'm saying, they would have took an L on that one. So it's like I think she's starting to realize that this shit is a lot harder than what Franklin makes it look like it is. And it's starting, you can kind of see like the pressure is getting to her. But these two particular instances where they're having these conversations, it's like for some odd reason, it seems like the cop has the advantage on her. And like even when he was talking to her, you know what I'm saying, he asked her like, yo, you know what I'm saying, are you ready for this? Like, you know, once you go through with this shit, there's no going, ain't no turning back. You know what I'm saying? This is something for real. Like you taking a life here. This ain't, you know, just a plaything. This is for real. So once dude gone, and I think what he was trying to let her know is like, yo, you're gonna have to be ready for retaliation. It's gonna be a lot of shit that's gonna happen that y'all got to get ready for once this happens. And I think that that's going to end up culminating not just with Kane's crew, but also with Leon and Franklin, because now we can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? We can't trust you to do anything, even though you're supposed to be with us. You know what I'm saying? We can't trust you, and that's going to be, to me at least, a huge problem. Even though we come to find out that later on Jerome has some different plans, but I don't know if that's going to be helpful when the time comes.
Okay, so the thing that popped up in my head was if a scenario happened, if it go down something like this, like he goes after Kane solo, and let's say Kane kind of spot the dude, and there's a situation where they have like a little, tiny conversation before one of them get taken out. And let's say a situation where Kane spots him, shoots him, but he don't die, and then he kind of like gives up Louis or something like that. And then it's gonna look like, oh shit, like these little dudes set me up. Like they made it seem like that they was gonna, put me on. And I think that could be something that can backfire the whole plan to where Kane is like, oh, so I thought we was making a deal and we was cool, and then y'all, sent a cop to kill me behind my back.
Right.
I feel like something like that might end up happening.
That's very probable.
And then that blowback is gonna fall back on Louis. And because when they see, like, I don't know, man, like that while I was talking about it, like that just popped up in my head of like, what if one of those type of situations happen? And
that's highly probable.
I look, man, I just gotta, because it can't be that easy to where Kane just, I'll just make the bread.
See, I'm feeling that. I'm glad you said that because I'm feeling that same thing. I'm feeling like that Kane is probably going to try to use this as an end, and I still think he's going to try to get at Franklin and Leon regardless, and probably try to even take over that whole get down.
Definitely. Yeah.
So let's go ahead.
Oh man, listen, man. I want to get into it, man. Listen, I think this. Every scene that we saw with Jerome was different. Jerome is out searching, trying to find Peaches, going to the old veteran place, which I think he's familiar with, because I think that Jerome used to go there, like back when he was like selling weed and like shit like that, like early on, but we just never saw it. And I think that with him going in there, speaking with that doctor, fixing his hand, and I don't know what Peaches told that doctor, but that doctor knew who he was talking about, but he just didn't tell him. But then at the same time, with Jerome sitting in that meeting, like what I want to hear from you was like to see that emotion come from Jerome in multiple scenes, but mainly the scene of when he was sitting through that meeting, and that one guy was talking about like when he was, in the war and saying that, within, an hour of being there, like he put down 3 people and And then for him to say like, yo, it's like I'm always angry.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been seeing a lot of raging coming out of Jerome lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously it has to be from him being in the war, but what are your thoughts on them like introducing that? Well, not introducing us to that, but because I think he might have spoke about him being in a war before, or at least being in the military. But
Mm-hmm.
like, what are your thoughts on like what we seeing out of Jerome right now?
Okay, so I got a different take on this, right? Because that thought crossed through my mind too. Because I was trying to think back as if Jerome had ever said anything about being in the military or anything like that, and it I really don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back in the first season and watch a few episodes to see if that was even mentioned. Um, but the interesting thing to me is, and this is just my perspective, I'm not sure if this is what they were aiming at, but I don't necessarily think that it's the being in the military and going to war part that he was necessarily connecting with. I think that it's the having to be in the quote unquote, and I hate saying this because it's so cliche, but the drug game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having to keep one eye over your shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with the situations that they've dealt with, you know, his girl getting shot, you know, him beefing with his nephew and having to fight his nephew, and you know, the situation with his sister, and it's all kind of different things that culminate, you know, having to shoot people, having to, you know what I'm saying, like really be on a pivot at all times. Like that's, you got to think about what we talking about. We talking about the 80s, we talking about the crack era, and we talking about in LA. They ain't even really brought up the whole gangs culture or none of that really yet. Right? We ain't even really seen the gang culture on this show yet. And
Yeah,
so dealing with all of that and you know hearing that story, I think that what it is really showing you that, you know, maybe later on down the line, you can kind of come to the terms that this is a PTSD. But I think this is him experience PTSD at an early stage, right? Because the conversation he was having with the doctor, I think he realized what the doctor did and or what the doctor was doing. You know, the doctor, it seemed like the doctor kind of knew what he was about. You know, you could tell that he wasn't, you know, or the doctor probably looked at it like, well, he ain't no military dude. He ain't on drugs. You know, he showing me money. I kind of know what this dude does. And I think he kind of recognized that. And out of respect for, you know, not just the doctor being, you know, so kind and courteous to him, but also him being an older black man and
mm-hmm.
him, you know, having that talk with him and telling him like, yeah, you need to get some help because, yeah, we have been seeing Jerome kind of lash out, you know what I'm saying, in these episodes. And even last season, he kind of went through that too. But to see him hearing that, and you could see, you know what I'm saying, the actor kind of giving that great performance of him playing those scenarios in his head, putting those, you know what I'm saying, playing those thoughts in his head about, yo, you know what I'm saying, like this shit is really against me. Like, you know, I'm getting older. I can't keep doing this shit. You know what I mean? To me, I think that was a great way of them. And once again, like I said, I'm not sure if this is what they were doing, but this is how I just perceived it. But they did a great job of, excuse me, having him basically have that, you know, that inner thought, you know what I'm saying, that revelation of, man, I got to get the fuck out. I got to stop doing this because this shit ain't going to lead to nowhere but jail or death. And I'm not trying to be in either one of those. And you kind of seen him coming to that realization and kind of, you know, listening to, you know what I'm saying, the vet talk and saying the things that he was saying. He was kind of making a comparison in a way of damn, like I'm going through the same thing. Like, and remember, he was telling them, you know, he was like something about war. He was like, nigga, what you talking about? We are at war. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? that kind of, you know what I'm saying, that correlates because it's like, well, shit, yeah, you ain't overseas at war, but damn, you at war here because you know you ducking shots here and there. You can't even go sit down at a lunch without getting shot at. You know what I'm saying? You just went through a situation just then. So for sure, man. It's I think that they were just trying to show the PTSD of being in the drug culture and being a, you know what I'm saying, at the time, one of the biggest drug dealers in the country. And you know what I'm saying, having to deal with that, that's a lot of stress. That's a lot of problems, you know what I'm saying, that come your way. And I think they showcased that brilliantly.
Yeah, and also, and you brought up a good point, but I also like how the doctor was like, "Yo, it ain't no shame in asking for help." It was like, "Yo,
Mm-hmm.
we do free therapy here," you know. And when Jerome went to with that one guy, where they went to that one guy's house and he told him to stay in the garden, and I think that he was just sitting there and reflecting, you know what I mean, and just thinking,
Yeah.
and like he was getting
Yeah.
emotional because I think that there aren't a lot of times where Jerome is really somewhere where he could sit down and go over his thoughts because it was
Yeah.
quiet, you know what I'm saying? And I think that he was really able to think over some things, and then it didn't help when dude took him to that dope house,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Yo, like Peaches is here all the time." He was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Peaches is, you know what I'm saying, is a
A
what
junkie.
a junkie." He's like, "You couldn't tell." He was like, "Man, that dude would do anything to escape the pain that he's in."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Motherfucker." And then he got to thinking, and then you could see him, like you said, like the actor is like you could see him registering this stuff in his head, and then he see
Mm-hmm.
that one guy where his high wears off, and he just pushes a little bit more
Trying to
in
get
there.
it back. Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, I am poisoning these people,"
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think that Jerome, and when Jerome, we can go ahead and get into this too, because we gotta eventually get into Franklin and damn, what's his name, Teddy, but
Yeah.
he proposed to Louis, and
Yep.
but he told her, "Yo, there's some things I gotta do."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "There's some changes I gotta make,"
Mm-hmm.
and I think that, my opinion, I want your opinion too as well. Is I think that he is going to end up taking that doctor up on that. I think he's going to start going to these meetings. I think that he is going to try to start getting himself out of this game and maybe trying to convince her maybe to, yo, that shit that Franklin was telling us about, maybe we need to start considering that because I'm kind of wanting to be out of this game because I'm seeing with my own eyes what I am doing to people by pushing
Mm-hmm.
this. What was your thoughts when he was in that junkie house and like registering that stuff that were in him telling Louis that, yo, I want to make some changes. There's some things I got to do.
Um, I think, you know what I'm saying, between him being in, you know what I'm saying, that therapy session and then him seeing the effects of being in a, you know what I'm saying, like, well, it ain't really a crack house, but well, we'll just say crack house for the sake of the show. But I mean, just being in the crack house and actually seeing, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude knocked on the door, he just walk in and you just see everybody laid out, everybody high. And it's like, you know, it don't really, to me, it didn't really hit him until he seen dude trying to get that high back.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, seeing that and realizing like, damn, you know, this is really doing something different. Because when they walked up to the place at first, like you didn't expect that. You know what I'm
Nah.
saying? They was walking through like this big like garden and well big park, and then it looked like a garden and everything else. And then finally when you walk in there and you looking at it, you like, damn. Like, you know, even it seemed like even in some of the nicest places this was going on. And so, you know what I'm saying? I think that him coming to that realization, like, yo, you know, I gotta get out of this once again. Like being at that therapy session, it was some things he had to change. I think what was interesting though is, he said that he got to do this for his people. You know what I'm saying? He got to get back to, getting the stereo shop together and, doing all that because, and that's what I was saying earlier when I was talking about, that smirk that he gave Leon when Leon said, we putting more black bodies out in the streets. I thought that was interesting because we kind of seeing Leon go through this progression. And, now we kind of seeing Jerome starting to head towards that same path, right? I think it's going to be real interesting to see where they both end up later on in the season. And then, like I said, if they do another one, how they end up next season. Because, like I said, we ain't even seen or been introduced to the gang culture yet. We see a couple crews here and there, all that. But we ain't really seen, like, the gang culture yet. And remember, this is still L.A. And they're still coming off of, the Panthers and everything else. So now that, that's, now that a lot of that is going on around this time, I want to see how they incorporate that into it because that's going to be, that's going to add a whole different layer to this story then. But with Jerome and, his reactions to everything, you're starting to see that those wheels turning in his head and that maturation of him saying, listen, if we stay in this, it could end bad. If we get out of this as quick as possible, we can actually get out of this and be okay. And remember, this is something he was talking about earlier in the season. Remember when him and Louis was riding the horses, he had mentioned it like, yo, I want to buy you some horses and get a stable and, actually live life and enjoy life and do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times are we going to have to be in the shootout? How many times are we going to have to keep dealing with these, crazy situations that's putting our life on the line? So I think that, all of this shit is really just culminating in him really getting tired of being with the shit. And I mean, hell, even Louis said it after they went to go see Avi, like, yo, I know that, you kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I really appreciate you sticking by me through all of this. And that's another thing that I meant to bring up when I was talking about Louis, about how, it seems like she's really trying to prove herself in this situation.
Definitely, man. I just think that we saw a turn this episode when it came to Jerome. Seeing Jerome register the things that the way that he did, and then the way that the episode ended it, or the way it ended was him going back to their old crib, going back to their old block. Like, I just wonder what that represents. I think it could represent a lot of things, but before we get to Franklin and Teddy, mm-hmm. What do you think that represented him going back to their old house? Like, what do you think stems from that?
I think that's just the start of him, doing what he said, getting back to his people, connecting back with, with his roots, man, going back to, because remember, he had the stereo shop, man. He was happy. He was doing this thing. At that time, he seemed at peace. You know what I'm saying? He was really enjoying himself when that shit was happening. And then, once all that shit ended and he kind of got into, what they got into, and from here on out, it just, like you said, it just seemed like he's been mad, and it gets worse and worse and worse as, each episode goes on.
Definitely. So we get Teddy back. He's with old girl. Oso comes over there to come pick him up. Told Oso to bring the $500K. Mm-hmm. Gives her the $500K, and she's trying to fix up Oso, but he's like, yo, I'm good. And she's trying to tell Teddy, like, yo, like, those stitches are gonna come loose. So they meet up with Franklin. Well, Franklin's having a conversation with V, and that's when the whole shit comes up about his mom. He could tell that, V and Sissy had a conversation, but mm-hmm. he mixed up with Teddy after Teddy was blowing him up, and Teddy was just trying to put everything together, like, yo, they hit all the spots at the same time. Like, this had to be an inside job. all this type shit. So he comes up with one of Javi's guys, and he's like, "Yo, who look worse out of all three of us?" And, he's trying to lighten up the mood. Teddy ain't trying to hear that shit, and Teddy's like, "Yo, who's this guy?" And he told him about Peaches, setting them up and taking all the money and all that type shit. And he's like, "Yo, like, you need to stop these big deals. You can buy the whole ghetto if you want to. Stop trying to buy up these compounds and downtown buildings and all this type shit." And he's like, "Well, this deal, I'm not stopping this deal." And he was like, "Well, don't do no more." And so then he's mad about Sissy's being back. He's mad that, Peaches robbed him. And he's like, "Yo, I need security. I'm your security. Like, yo, you was my security last time your ass got shot. You left. So I ain't trying to hear that bullshit." So
Exactly.
what was going through your mind when I mean, Teddy got animated? Like, he's not with the shits no more.
Okay, so this is a very interesting thing to me now, right? So we starting to see a different version of Teddy. We starting to see the more strict, stick by the book. We actually seeing the CIA agent Teddy now. It seems like we're to the point to where I don't think he trusts Franklin no more. I don't think they have that same. I don't think they have that same rapport that they had at first, and it's starting to seem as if like Teddy's getting this weird paranoia at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody that's around him is kind of getting, weary of him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's really going on with him? I think it's something else that's eating at him that they haven't revealed yet. But I'm not sure that this relationship is gonna last too much longer. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on, and to me, I feel like it's not really an issue with what Franklin is doing. I think that Teddy sees it as an issue because now Teddy is starting to see that Franklin is really not needing him as much as he needed him in the beginning. I think what ended up happening is he kind of underestimated Franklin. And I think I said this before, but the interesting part is to me that Franklin and Teddy are the same people, right? They like the same side, or they the two sides of the same coin, if that makes any sense. They both very intellectual, they both very calculated, but they just happen to be in this one predicament together. And I think that with the way that Franklin kind of handled the situation with I forgot what the other dude was, what the other dude's name was that Teddy had to kill. But I feel like he's seen that even without him, Franklin was still actually Franklin thrived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that now it's like he don't really have that hold that he used to have. He don't really have that same cachet that he used to have. You know what I mean?
I think it's that, and I think it's also Franklin has an exit plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he don't like the fact that, while when I left, like you said, he thrived. This dude got his pilot's license. He got a plane. He's buying up downtown. He's, trying to do a deal by getting a compound. And I think that he's like, yo, Franklin don't really need this drug money no more.
Yeah.
So, and I think he's trying to get him to stop doing it because I think that he knows he get this downtown spot in this compound. He's not really gonna need this shit anymore. So it's kind of like Freddie. Teddy is keeping himself useful and trying to keep Franklin at a certain point Because if Franklin get too big in this real estate space, then he's not really gonna have any use for Teddy. But like Teddy has something on him, and he has something on Teddy because Teddy know that at any point he can lock him up.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think Teddy also knows that he could, but it's not going to be as easy like it was with Alton.
Yes. But he took some caution steps. He met with that one guy about basically disappearing again. And he was like, yo, like, what do I need to do? Because I think that, and this is what makes me think, like, yo, is this dude like, I am the most confused when it comes to Teddy, man. Because one minute I think he's with the CIA, then another minute it's like, yo, I don't think he's with the CIA no more. Like,
well, I don't think he with the CIA no more. I think he just still got the connections.
Because it's like, yo, for him to try to get like the ID, the bank accounts, and all of this type shit that he need to disappear, he's getting that shit in motion now. And dude, this dynamic, I don't know how this is gonna end. But then, like, what are your thoughts on? And I'll share one thing before I get your opinions on this. When he came to see Oso and showed him all of this equipment to keep tabs on Franklin, saying that Franklin has gotten sloppy and all this shit. And I think that situation with the Tiger and shit, and that time that Franklin and Oso spent together, I think they view each other differently now.
Big time.
I think that he's gonna go along with what Teddy wants, but I think he's gonna tell Franklin, be like, yo, he's about to bug all your shit. So whatever you're doing, don't say nothing. I think he's gonna tip him and tell him. I think he's gonna go along with it because Teddy wants it done, but I think he's gonna let Franklin know, like, yo, your shit is bugged, so don't say nothing. What do you think?
Well, we forgetting the interesting piece, right?
Okay.
The last drop that they had before the shootout. Remember him and Oso was talking, and he had said, I didn't know that you and Teddy was listening in on me. Remember, Oso was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was listening in. So I think that kind of already gave him, a kind of, wait a minute, kind of caution about Teddy. Then on top of Teddy leaving in that scenario, that kind of added to it. And then, like you said, them going through that together and Franklin having, Oso's back. That's, that kind of definitely, made Oso kind of look at Teddy a lot differently. Now with the spy equipment, I agree. I think that he's going to somehow let Franklin know, like, yo, remember, because he told him too, you can't trust nobody.
Yep.
And I think Franklin is really starting to see that. I think Franklin is really starting to find that out. But I think he's gonna let him know. I think he's gonna give him a hint and say, hey man, you're gonna have to be cautious around Teddy because this ain't the same Teddy. This ain't the same dude that, we used to know. This is something different.
Yep. And even when he apologized to Oso, like, he didn't even say nothing. Because he's just like, all right, yeah, you got hit. But, you know what I'm saying? Franklin didn't get hit, but, like, yo, like, he made sure I made it out of that situation. You know what I mean? And you left. And not only did you leave, but now you apologize, but you want me to, the guy that stayed with me and was down with me, like, you know what I'm saying, through thick and thin, when you took off and you want me to put all this spy equipment and all of his shit.
Yeah.
And then Sissy, he's still going back and forth with, do she want to put that? Remember, she looked down at her purse and saw that pen.
She wanted to record that conversation.
Yeah. So that's another dynamic, man. There is like is Sissy gonna end up trying to bug him too? So it's kind of gonna be like, yo, shit is starting to crumble around Franklin, man. But that's what this game does to you, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole point of this, man. Like at some point, there's going to be a downfall.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily crumbling. I just think that what the lessons that he's been told and everything else. Because remember, that wasn't the first time that somebody told Franklin don't trust nobody. Because hell, even Teddy told him himself, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You when with the situation where Alton was happening, nah, you can't trust nobody around you. Sometimes even the people closest to you, you know, they end up turning and making shit a lot worse than what you think it is. So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm excited to see how, you know what I'm saying, what this next episode gives us. You know what I mean? It's a lot going on. I really don't know what's going on with Sissy. To me, it seems as if she's trying to deconstruct everything. And I think she's kind of going to be the catalyst for the downfall if it does happen that way. I think she's going to be a big part in that downfall.
True. And then before we get out, the whole statement that was made about Peaches, I think it made a lot of sense. When Louis was talking to Jerome and she was like, yo, I'm sorry about Peaches. And she was like, but with him seeing Franklin shoot Rob and said, yo, he's on that stuff, so he can't be trusted. And then to come to find out Peaches is on it too. Now it makes sense that Peaches was just like, yo, I'm just gonna snatch this money and I'm out of here. Because when Franklin found out that I'm doing drugs too, I'm a dead man. So I thought,
see, I agree with you, but I'm kind of skeptical on that only because that's two different dynamics, right? I think that Franklin said that as an excuse to kill Rob and justify what he did. Because it really wasn't a reason to kill Rob. Rob really wasn't the guy that, you know what I'm saying? He really wasn't the one at fault there. But I think that you are right. When Peaches seen that, you could tell he was kind of acting different. What's interesting though is him leaving. Like they said, supposedly he went to another country. So we don't even know if that's true though, right? But he could still be touched.
Oh yeah.
We've seen that already. But what's interesting to me is how, knowing what Peaches did, right? Now that Kane is possibly going to be in the mix for a little while, maybe. The cop is now getting involved in this. Is this going to expose, you know what I'm saying, Teddy again? Because I think that's Teddy's biggest fear, is getting exposed again. Because remember, with the Alton thing, it just came straight out. Now this is something that could really, you know what I'm saying, get him into a different situation. Because, like I said, I don't think he's with the CIA anymore. And remember, when he disappeared, I think he disappeared not from the situation, but from the CIA. Because he was off the grid, like he had no contacts with nobody. He was in another country, and he was like in the jungles. I mean, like, so this may be something different now.
You're right. I'm with
this
you.
This may be something totally different.
100%, man. 100%. But I will say this though. What's to come? I know you don't watch the one thing. I just want to mention one thing. And I don't think this is a shocker, but it's a wedding scene. And Franklin is dancing with Louis, and basically he's trying to, in a way, apologize and like it was kind of like they was talking, and he was like, "Yo, I should have treated you like a partner from the beginning."
Mm-hmm.
And she basically says, "Yo, it's too late." So that's what's to
Yes.
come. That's what's to come.
Maybe this is where Jerome and Louis finally take off, and they like, hey, we out of this thing. We got what we need.
Could be.
Or maybe this is a dream. Who knows?
You're right.
You know
Could
what I mean?
be.
Maybe we gonna have Jerome daydream in the next episode. All right,
Anything's
man.
possible.
Let's get into coming soon, man.
Yes, sir.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Okay, so this next one is I've been hearing rave reviews about this joint, right? My mom was telling me about this, and she was saying it was funny because she was telling me, she was like, "You really have to watch this. This is a great movie. It's what I'm saying. It talks about some real, what I'm saying, deep stuff." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "It's the Atom Project." And I just started laughing. I'm like, "Well, I gotta watch it anyway, because what I'm saying, we got to review this thing." So I'm excited to see this, man. I've been hearing some interesting points of views and some interesting takes on it. So yeah, man, the next episode we doing the Atom Project. This was one that you put up. I'm assuming you already watched it.
I did. I already
Okay.
watched it. But I'm gonna enjoy watching it again, man. Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds is on a great run. But not only is he on a great run, it's just that, you know, we did a great episode on the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole concept of time travel. And then we talked
Mm-hmm.
about a lot of time travel when we did the MCU episode when we was
Yeah.
talking about Endgame and shit. But he breaks all the rules of what they say you shouldn't do in time travel. So that's why I
Okay.
think that it's gonna be very entertaining and very I think that with him doing it the way that he did it, I think that the way that time travel is assumed to be, I think you're just gonna have a lot of thoughts on it. I think that
Okay.
this is gonna be a very thoughtful episode that's coming funny at the same time because Ryan Reynolds is just,
I mean, yeah,
you know what I'm
that's what he
saying?
do.
But I think that this is gonna get deep for somebody like you who love the concept of time travel. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be dope.
Cool, man. So I can't wait to do this episode, and I know you guys can't wait to hear this next episode. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be bringing that to you next week. And for the time being, man, if you enjoyed this episode, you know what I'm saying, make sure you hit us up and let us know. And then if you want to go back and catch up, or if you want to go back and re-listen, feel free to. Catalog is there on all platforms. But hitting us up, man, just go to Instagram and Twitter at View9Pod, and also you can hit us up on Facebook at VA Pod Watch Group, and you can hit me up on man, I better say social media on Twitter at Scoots Bronson, and follow me on TikTok, man, Scoots Bronson TV.
Yeah, man, y'all can follow me at s.foster8 on Instagram and Twitter, at 28 minutes or less pod on IG. Check out the last episode 79. Man, I did my top 5 rap groups of all time. So go check out that new episode. Will be on the way, so be on the lookout, man. You can find 28 minutes or less on all major platforms. And oh yeah, check out the new episode of, if I'm saying it right, because I don't have it in front of me. It's Wait, I think it's Wait, Shine, Grind, Marathon podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know where you can find it at. Because I'm not handling all of that stuff.
Right.
JD's handling all of that, man. So, look up the Stick to Drip network, where you can find all the information for that podcast as well.
Yeah, definitely check out the Distinctive Drip Network on YouTube, man. Also, shout out to JD, shout out to Siege, and shout out to E, man. Our fellow co-hosts on the 4-3 pod and our partners in crime in the creative space. And also, you know what I'm saying, shout out to you, the listener. We greatly appreciate the support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And like they always say in Hollywood, man, that's a wrap.
Cut.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, you know what I was gonna do? I thought about it with that last episode we did. I was gonna say when we were talking about the Oscars, I was gonna say that's a slap.
Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.